Good to see you today. Nice small group. Hi, Kristen, Cynthia, Sue. We'll see who else drops in this morning, but so nice to see your faces and glad to be back and having you join me for mindful movement and meditation. Great way for us to start our day together. Warms my heart to see you. And so, what we're going to do today is together engage in a lying down yoga sequence. And then I thought we would together sit with a focused attention meditation to get us back into the swing of our summer here with this class. You'll notice on the bottom of the screen there is a transcription that is happening in small print, and there is often somebody in the class who requires this. If it's in the way, you just have to go to the bottom of your screen and click on hide subtitles or transcriptions, and that will get that, that'll help that disappear on your screen so you can have a better view if you choose to. So why don't we just get right to it then? And hopefully you have a yoga mat or soft carpeted area. And let's go ahead and start our session today lying down. So finding a spot that you feel is comfortable, lying down on your back with your legs extended and uncrossed, just letting your toes flop away from one another, beginning to release some of that tension that builds up in our legs and hips, letting your arms out to your side extended, perhaps with the palms slightly turned up. And just as you're lying here, beginning to feel your body against the surface. Starting to notice the weight of the body and the contact points from the bottom of the heels, wherever there may be contact, perhaps beneath the calves or thighs, this heavier pressure in the base of the hips, the back and the arms, and then, of course, the back of your head between your ears. Starting to sense into this body lying here. Beginning to notice the breath now in this lying down posture. Feeling the full expansion of the breath, noticing the chest and the belly rising. And then on the out breath, sensing into the physical sensation of this release. As the belly lowers down towards the floor or the base of the spine. Beginning to feel the steady rhythm of your breath just as it is. Perhaps on an out breath, as you release the breath, also releasing all that's not needed here in the form of muscle tension. Letting the body begin to feel held by the surface beneath. Feeling as if it's melting into the floor. Letting go of tension from the toes all the way to the top of the head. And softening the features of your face. Closing your eyes if you feel that that would best support you for this movement practice. I'll be sure to guide you as I always do, quite specifically. And if you need to look up at the screen, if you get lost or confused, you'll be able to follow me this way. You're resting with your breath, knowing that this movement practice, reminding yourself this isn't like perhaps other yoga practices that you engage in. There's nothing to achieve here. Your body is perfect just the way it is, and we're simply bringing awareness to the physical sensations of the body through movement to rest the mind, quiet the chatter, bring more presence. No wrong way of doing this, and feel free to modify any of the postures, poses in any way that you see fit for yourself today, this morning. And so let's begin now by turning your palms down, extending those fingers out towards the toes, keeping the legs relaxed. And on the next in-breath, just beginning to let the arms rise up towards the ceiling. You'll notice the weight of the arms as you do this. Maybe awareness of the air touching the back of the hands or rushing through the fingers. It's this very simple motion, continuing to let the arms extend all the way overhead and breathing. And as they touch down, extending now the fingers away from the head, elongating the arms and the shoulders and the upper body, and then extending the feet out in the opposite direction, perhaps flexing the toes and pushing the soles of the feet and the heels away from the fingers so that you're feeling a full elongation and stretch. Continuing to notice the breath, maybe feeling into the touch of the breath on the outstretched trunk and the release. And on the next out breath, just softening the arms and the toes. And then as you feel ready, the next in-breath, extending just the right fingertips and the right heel away from one another so that you're starting to notice this elongation and sensations that may be present on the right side of the body, from the arms, shoulder all the way down through the lower leg and the hips. And then an out breath, releasing. And as you feel ready, going ahead and extending the left fingertips and the left heel away from one another and seeing what's here on the left side of the body as you elongate and stretch. And then releasing on an out breath, letting the toes just flop away from one another. And then going ahead as you feel ready and beginning to let the arms travel back up. Feeling the arms pushing through gravity, almost feeling the thickness of the air as it touches the palms. Maybe noticing it rushing through the fingers, just sensing into whatever's present for you, letting the arms continue to drift down. Breathing, noticing right as the hands touch down and this release into the surface beneath. An in-breath and an out-breath, just letting the body fully release into the surface beneath, softening the features of the face, and just being with the breath here for a moment. So going ahead and turning your palms down once again and bending both of the knees and letting them rise all the way up towards your chest. And if you'd like to, crossing your arms over or under the knees and drawing them up close, giving yourself a nice hug. Maybe feeling the touch of the breath on the thighs. And then just letting the legs together as one unit fall just a little to the left as you turn your head to the right. This very soft trunk rotation. And just with the rhythm of the breath, maybe bringing the knees to the right and the head to the left. At your own pace, back and forth a few times. Nothing happening here but this simple motion and just indulging really in the simplicity. Maybe noticing the shift of weight on the hips or in the back of the skull. Just the fluidity and ease of this motion. Drawing the knees back up to your chest again. If you'd like to, lifting the forehead up, getting a bit of a deeper stretch through the back of the hips and spine. Coming back down and placing your hands on your kneecaps and taking some small circles with the knees in either direction. Just warming up the hips. gentle massage on the low back. You can move in the opposite direction if you'd like. And coming to stillness, and this time just setting the feet down right by your hips so the knees are pointed up towards the ceiling, the heels up comfortably towards your hips and buttocks, and placing your arms to your side with the palms down. We'll be moving into a pelvic tilt here, and so noticing now that there's an arch in the low back, you can almost place your hand underneath, feel that space there. And if you'd like to accentuate that arch just a little bit, so you can feel that as the pelvis is rolled forward. And then on the out breath, going ahead and rolling your pelvis back as the low back fully touches down to the surface beneath. And then releasing with an in-breath and recreating that arch, just moving back into this forward pelvic tilt. And so with your own pace of your in-breath and out-breath, maybe continuing to explore the sensations here, letting the rest of the body just kind of go along for the ride, only moving the pelvis as it rotates over the lower spine and the hips. You may notice that as you roll the pelvis back and the low back touches down, that there's a bit of tension built up in the abdominals, the lower belly, and it also in the region of the hips and buttocks. And then this release as the pelvis rolls forward. Again, just warming up, beginning to get some movement here in the region of the hips and pelvis, coming to stillness as you feel ready. Awareness of the full cycle of the breath all the way through this yoga sequence. With the palms down, going ahead now and raising your hips up towards the ceiling into this bridge pose. Feeling the breath sweeping through the body, the in-breath and out-breath, and then pushing the heels and the shoulders away from one another. Maybe noticing as you do this that the hips want to rise just a little bit more. Be sure not to force or overdo anything. Maybe noticing if there's a tendency towards this and maybe backing off a bit, maybe 25% less effort if you feel like you're overdoing it. And then on an out breath, one vertebra at a time from top down. So the upper vertebra, noticing as each vertebra begins to lower down and then as the hips touch down. And when they do, then an in-breath. And then on an out breath, maybe recreating that curve in the low back and letting go of all the tension, softening the features in your face. Let's go ahead again and lift up, pushing those hips up gently, just to a point that you feel you can rest here. And if you had to hang here for a bit longer, you'd be at a comfortable height. Noticing the effort here, what muscles are working, what sensations might be present. And of course, coming out of these poses whenever you feel you need to. Breathing and going ahead and lifting the arms back up as you extend the fingers forward, letting them rise up through gravity, extending all the way overhead as they drift down and touch the ground behind you, and then reaching those fingertips away and pushing the heels in the opposite direction. Noticing if you're breathing, feeling that breath, and feeling the hips rising just a little bit more. Being with the breath, and then as you feel ready on an out breath, lowering one vertebra down. So if you can feel the actual touch of each vertebra, noticing as the hips touch down, an in-breath, and an out-breath, just relaxing the arms up overhead, releasing tension in the hips, the legs, the face, and feeling the breath. So here, widening your stance. So keeping the knees still pointed to the ceiling and the feet flat, but separating them. So if you were on a yoga mat, perhaps they're on the outer edge of the yoga mat. And then with the breath, letting just the right knee fall inwards towards the left knee. The left knee will stay pointed towards the ceiling. Just rotating the right knee in, and at the same time extending the right fingertips back towards the wall, away from the head. Breathing and noticing the elongation here as you continue to move into this pose as far as feels right for you. Breathing, noticing the asymmetry and whatever is here for you. Coming back up, releasing tension in the arm, letting the right knee now point up towards the ceiling. And then as you feel ready, the left knee can fall inwards towards the right knee and extending the left fingertips away from that left knee and breathing. Feeling this elongation being created. Deepening the stretch as far as feels right for you and breathing. Maybe noticing subtle shifts and changes as you move into this posture. And then coming back up, bringing the feet back in so that they are next to one another. And then on the next out breath, letting the arms rise back overhead and gently drift back down to your side. Taking your time, there's no rush. As the hands touch down on the surface, noticing as the tension is fully released and melts into the surface beneath. An in-breath and an out-breath and letting go. So bringing in now the ankles so that they're touching and the knees so they're touching. So the knees now are, and the legs have created kind of one unit here. And we'll be moving into a bit of a deeper trunk rotation. So arms can either be out to your side or clasped behind your head with your fingertips intertwined together and opening up the elbows. And then as you feel ready, letting the knees together fall gradually down to the left and turning your head to the right, doing your best to keep the right shoulders flat on the surface if possible. Attending to the changes and shifts here as you continue to let the knees fall down slowly to a point that's comfortable for you. We're going to rest here for a couple cycles of the breath. On each out breath, doing your best to release the tension throughout the body, noticing what happens as you do so. Feeling into this deeper rotation all the way up the spine. Breathing and releasing. Noticing changes. Or noticing perhaps if the sensation is fixed, whatever is here for you. And then going ahead and offering a bit of tension in your lower abdominals to ease yourself as you lift those knees back up to the center. And then on the next out breath, letting the knees fall down to the right and turning your head to the left, keeping your shoulders flat if possible. Nice and slow as you pay attention to sensations and changes here. Finding a point where you'd like to rest and then staying here for a couple of cycles of breathing. And again, on the out breath, seeing if it's possible to let go a little bit deeper. No effort here. Just seeing what may be present, what happens. What's different on this side than the other side. And then going ahead and bringing in a bit of tension in the lower abdominals as you lift those legs back up to the center. Drawing the knees back up towards the chest, giving yourself one more hug Maybe lifting your head up one more time. Letting one vertebra drop down at a time until the head touches down. Going ahead and bringing your arms to your side and letting your legs now return to the original outstretched and straight position. With an in-breath and an out-breath, letting the toes completely release away from one another, opening up the palms, softening the features of the face, and being with the breath here. The expansion with the in-breath of the belly and chest, and the full release, melting into the surface a bit, feeling the weight of the body, and maybe taking a moment to notice how the body feels now lying here. Just take a moment to take inventory, see what's present. Maybe taking a moment to notice the activity of the mind. Any patterns of thinking or familiar thoughts that tend to travel through your mind as we're going through this process, or emotions that are evoked. And breathing. So turning your palms down now and keeping your left leg flat to the surface and outstretched. Let's go ahead and begin with a heel slide, bringing the right heel gradually and slowly up the surface, noticing the contact, the touch of the heel, how far you can slide it up until there's no more room to go, and then lifting the right knee up and clasping your fingers over or under the back of the right thigh. And then with the breath, gradually bringing this knee up towards your chest. Is it possible to slow down enough and attend to these very subtle shifts of sensation as you open the hip in this way? Breathing, discovering what maybe your limit is, your particular boundary, and not feeling a need to go past that or force anything, but at the same time, bringing in this quality of freshness, maybe this ability to explore what's possible with this level of sensitivity and attention. Sometimes when we do this, we see that what we once thought were our limits, we can actually discover some new range of motion and flexibility here. And so on an out breath, releasing the tension just a little bit. We'll go ahead and we're going to rotate the hip internally and externally. So placing your right hand to your side, but keeping your left hand on the right knee. Making sure to touch in with your breath. And on the next out breath, going ahead and guiding the right knee across the body to the left as you turn your head to the right. Keeping your shoulder flat. Beginning to notice what's happening here for you as we move into this deeper trunk rotation. Breathing. Just moving as far as you would like, exploring and discovering the sensations just with interest and curiosity, seeing what's here. Breathing. And again, here on an out breath, seeing if it's possible to just let go and release the tension throughout the body, seeing what happens here. And then coming back up to the center and switching hands, letting your left hand rest to your side and going ahead and guiding this right knee out to the right, opening up the hip in this way, exploring the sensations here. With deep presence, seeing what's here with curiosity, what's changing as you move this way and with this much attention and sensitivity. And then coming back up to the center, clasping your hands over, under, and once again, gradually drawing that knee up towards your chest with the breath. If you'd like to, lifting your forehead up, deepening the stretch just a bit. Lowering one vertebra at a time, letting the head touch down. And so just releasing the tension a little bit, still holding on to the knee or behind the back of the thigh. And now extending out the lower leg. The leg can be straight or bent, depending on your level of flexibility. And clasping your fingers now behind the back of the right thigh if it was not already there. Feeling the in-breath and the gentle sensation of the out-breath. Now the next out-breath, going ahead and drawing the right leg up towards your chest very slowly with careful and sensitive attention, just seeing what's here. Breathing each out-breath, if you'd like, coming up just a little bit more, finding what's right for you and not pushing past. And then setting your arms to your side, extending out this leg, kicking the heel away, and slowly letting this leg drift back down, resting next to the left. Just anticipating the moment the heel will touch down. Breathing. And then the moment the heel does touch down, sometimes takes a bit longer than you thought when you pay attention in this way. When the heel actually touches, being with that moment of touch. And then an in-breath, and out-breath, letting it all go. Flopping those toes away from one another. Feeling the breath and just noticing how the body feels now. Always interesting, perhaps, to notice a difference in sensation in the right hip and leg after moving it in this way from the left, or not, and that's fine too, whatever's here. And then turning your palms down again, keeping your right leg now outstretched and flat, and beginning to slide the left heel up the mat. Breathing, noticing the touch of the heel, seeing just how far the heel can go before it's necessary to lift that knee up, and then finding a position to clasp your hands over or under as you continue to draw that knee up towards the chest with the breath. Opening up the hip and the pelvis and feeling sensations here. So many different sensations to notice when we choose to. On the out breath, maybe choosing to come up a little farther if that feels right for you. Freshly learning and discovering just how far this hip can move in this direction. Breathing. If you'd like to on an out breath, maybe taking it just a little farther, just a smidge that feels right for you. And then backing off the tension just a little bit, placing your left hand down to your side, continuing to hold the left knee with your right hand. Breathing. And on the next out breath, going ahead and guiding the left knee across the body to the right, turning your head left. Just going slow enough that you can notice and attend to just how far you should be going with this position and this movement. Feeling sensations changing all the way up the spine. Breathing. On the out breath, seeing if it's possible to release tension all the way throughout the body that you may be holding on to, and what happens here when you do so. And then coming back up to the center and switching hands. So now holding your left knee with your left hand and placing your right arm to your side. And on the out breath, going ahead and opening up the pelvis as you guide your left knee out towards the left. Breathing, just breathing and discovering, exploring what's here. As you feel ready, coming back up to the center and maybe clasping your hands over the knee, drawing it up once again. with the breath, lifting your head up towards the knee to deepen this stretch. And then one vertebra at a time, coming back down, the head touching. So here, backing off your tension a little bit, taking your fingers and interlacing them together behind the left thigh. Extending out that lower leg just to a degree that feels comfortable. So it may stay bent quite a bit, or for some of you, not myself included, you may be flexible enough to have that leg all the way straight. On the next out breath, very carefully and gently drawing this left leg up towards your chest. And it may be just a teeny bit, and that's fine. Carefully attending here, moving slow enough so that you're doing this safely as you discover just how far you can go, and get a gentle stretch here in the back of your hamstrings and the left leg. Breathing, if you'd like to, on an out breath, maybe coming up just a smidge more if that's right for you. And then letting your arms come back to your side and kicking out that left leg, pushing the heel away so the leg is outstretched and straight. And now just letting it gradually drift back down. Breathing. Just waiting for that heel to touch. The moment it does, being with the moment of touch. Noticing the contact. And then an in-breath and an out-breath, and this full release. Toes flopped away, arms open and relaxed. Softening the features of your face. And with the breath, just feeling how the body is now. Taking inventory again. Kind of interesting to notice changes perhaps as we move along, and what's happening in the mind, thoughts or emotions as we go along. So let's go ahead now and transition ourselves onto our hands and knees. If this is comfortable for you, if you'd rather be standing with your hands resting on the back of a chair, that's fine too. So with your hands comfortably under the shoulders and the knees under the hips, feeling the cycle of the breath. And then let's move into our cat and cow. So letting the belly sag down and the head and the tail rise. And then perhaps on an out breath, letting the tail and head tuck in as the upper back rises towards the ceiling. At your own pace, moving the spine in this way. So really we're moving the spine all the way from the base of the sacrum up to the base of the skull. And so maybe checking in with this. Sensations all the way through. This is very gentle motion. And breathing. And then as you feel ready, letting your hips come all the way down towards your heels, hands flat to the surface, extending out the fingers away and just letting your head and neck rest. Feeling the breath against the thighs if you'd like. And starting to notice sensations of the upper back broadening and lengthening as you reach your fingertips out and away just a little bit more. And then walking your right fingertips away. And you can sense right away into this elongation on the right side of the body. You can cross those fingertips over to the left, deepening that stretch even by dipping the right hip down to the right just a drop, and breathing. Bringing the fingertips back to neutral, extending both fingers out and away. With the breath, noticing again this broadening of the upper back all the way down to the base of the spine. And then extending the left fingertips, walking them away and beginning right away to feel this opening of the ribs and the left hip and shoulder. Breathing and walking those fingers across to the right if you'd like, and dipping the left hip down to the left just a touch with the breath. Walking those fingertips back. Just indulging in one more nice in-breath and out-breath. And then letting the fingertips just slide up towards the knees, maybe with the back rounded. Coming up to your knees only if this is comfortable for you. And then letting the arms rise up. Maybe extending the fingertips up high with the in-breath. And just letting the arms gently drift down. Okay, lovely. Ladies, let's go ahead and move into a sitting meditation or whatever position is right for you. I thought, today we would do, as I mentioned, a focused attention meditation just to get us reacquainted maybe. Hopefully you've been doing some meditation on your own, but if not, that's not a problem. And just reacquainting ourselves with our anchor, with this object of awareness, discovering kind of this focus point that helps us to steady our attention. And as we steady our attention, we find that we're able to better steady the mind, quiet down the narratives, the ruminations, all that's really not needed in this moment. So this is a practice of coming back to a particular focus point or object that helps us steady ourselves, and a practice of letting go as our mind wanders with a sense of kindness and friendliness towards wherever our mind may take us. So going ahead and establishing a posture here that helps to support this intention of being fully present as possible, and awake. That might mean thinking about the spine rising from the sacrum, or opening up the shoulders by rolling them back. So you're upright, but not too tense. So you're still in a relaxed and comfortable posture. So sensing into this posture, and then closing your eyes if you'd like to, or just letting them rest softly today. Letting your arms dangle comfortably to your side. Letting go of the tension here, maybe checking in with the body and releasing any lingering muscle tension that may be present from all the way from the toes up to the top of the head, the features of the face, softening them. As you touch in now again with the breath, with the out breath, maybe an intentional release here of the muscles, sort of giving in to gravity with the out breath. Beginning to feel the weightedness, the heaviness of the body on the seat beneath you. This stable base of support that's grounded and anchored, rooted to the surface beneath. Allowing yourself to gradually settle the body and the mind. This can take time, where our mind is, I like to compare it to either a spinning top or to a speed dryer. You think of a dryer with clothes in it, and as you press the off button, it doesn't immediately stop. The clothes don't immediately touch down. It takes time for the spinning of our mind to settle, for the clothes or our thoughts to gradually rest, for the spinning top to slow down and stabilize. So, too, just giving yourself whatever time is needed for you today for your attention to steady and rest. Beginning to take a moment here to check in with what may be present right now with the activity of your mind, with your thoughts or your felt sense of your heart. What's happening inside? Being present. Particular emotional flavor to some thoughts and noticing how that's manifesting in the form of a bodily sensation. Maybe naming a particular emotion with this level of presence. Worry, regret, sadness, excitement. No need to push anything away. Taking a moment and checking in with your environment here. The space that you're sitting in. Any particular smells. Maybe the touch of the air on open skin or the temperature as it touches your skin. Particular sounds in the space around you. Just doing your best to be present with whatever it is that shows up here, just as it is, without judgment. Doing your best to let go of worries or ruminations, thoughts of the past or the future. Instead, this choice to settle in to what's here now, right here, with interest and curiosity. With the warm friendliness. There's nowhere to go and nowhere to be. Nothing that needs to be achieved, no particular outcome in this moment. Allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to indulge in the simplicity of what's here right now. That's all. So as we begin to explore now with my guidance, some different potential anchors or objects of awareness. Let's go ahead and begin by touching in with the possibility of using the breath as a focus point or an anchor. So beginning by just breathing and knowing that you're breathing. Perhaps sensing into the gentle, steady rhythm of the breath as it enters into the whole body and as it's released by the body. This broader perspective or view or feeling of the breath. It's expansion and release. It's always possible with the breath to narrow in your attention. If this helps bring a deeper curiosity or interest with this object of awareness, perhaps by noticing the temperature, the coolness of the air as it enters into the nasal passage, taking a moment to explore this sensation. We're noticing with the in-breath the sensation in the region of the upper chest, this filling of the front, the sides, the back of the upper trunk, and the release here. Choosing to explore how the body expands sideways as the ribs glide gently open with the in-breath. And then as they glide gently back inwards with the out-breath, the sideways motion. There's this possibility of exploring the sensation lower in the belly, even lower into the region of the pelvis and belly. Feeling as the breath is received, expansion and pressure here. As the belly rises, moves outwards, maybe pressure on clothing. And then as the belly is drawn back in, the pelvis maybe even noticing as it rocks backwards just a touch with the out-breath. Taking time to investigate and explore the breath on whether it's this broader, wider view or whether you're moving in to explore more focused, narrowed view of the breath. Investigating sensations here. For some, it's quite interesting to follow the entire cycle of the breath from the moment the in-breath begins, following all the sensations of expansion that may be present, all the way to the top as the fullness of the breath is received by the entire trunk. And then recognizing and being with this pause here at the top of the in-breath for a moment. Noticing the moment the out-breath begins and following the physical sensations of release all the way down. Being with this pause here at the bottom. As you take in the next in-breath, letting this breath spill out, and as the oxygen is received by the arteries and then travels all throughout the body, touching in with the different regions of the body as the breath is received and nourishments received by these regions, and starting to bring in a deeper awareness of sensations of the body. The gentle breath in the backdrop, and noticing the sensations of the body, this body sitting here. Whatever may be present, pleasant or unpleasant. See if it's possible to see what's beneath the layers of meaning or emotions that are often attached to our sensations. Each sensation just as it is, with interest. Tingling or pulsing, temperature, clothing, touching the body. Perhaps noticing the points of contact or touch with the out-breath, feeling the weight of the body, and as different regions of the body touch down a little heavier. This might be noticing where the feet or ankles are resting. Sensations of the feet and toes and soles of the feet. Perhaps on the next out breath, noticing the weight of the hands, wherever they may be resting. The position of the fingers, this contact, palms of the hands, the air or temperature touching the open skin, pulsing, tingling. Maybe on the next out breath, guiding your attention to the region of the buttocks and hips, the heaviness here in this contact, the quality of sensations here. Is it equally distributed on the right and left, the weight? What does this heaviness feel like? Front to back, side to side. And allowing the body and the breath to move to the backdrop, and making a choice to guide your attention to sounds in the space around you. Perhaps resting with this very quiet sound of the in-breath and the out-breath from within. With a soft, constant sound of humming and buzzing, these ambient noises. Of course, sounds coming and going inside your space or outside your space. So, for the next few minutes, opening up to this possibility now, we've taken a peek at the potential of using the breath as an object of awareness or an anchor to help steady your attention. Perhaps sensations of the body, particularly maybe the feet or hands or the buttocks and hips. And also sound as a possible anchor. So choosing just one of these objects that best supports your concentration, acts as this anchor to help steady your attention, that's easy for you, simple and reliable. Gathering and collecting your attention now and letting it rest on this anchor for a few minutes in silence. Gentle awareness each time the mind wanders, which is no problem. It will wander. This easy and friendly awareness with curiosity. Isn't that interesting what I'm thinking right now? But then firmly making a choice to come back to this anchor of your choice with what's here right now. Your anchor was not already the breath. Coming back to the rhythm of the breath. Bringing in a deeper, more complete in-breath. Gradually and slowly releasing the breath. Releasing all that's not needed in the form of bodily tension, in the form of narratives, worries, regrets. Letting go with the out breath. This breathing in calmness and peacefulness, presence. Breathing out stress, worries, whatever's not needed here. Breathing in clarity. Doing your best as you move through this day with your out breath to walk through and let compassion and kindness guide you. It's awareness of all the small gifts that are here to be received if we choose to notice in each one of our moments. And so with the sound of the singing bowl, if you can hear this, I'm still not 100% sure, but the sound of the singing bowl at your own pace, going ahead and gradually opening your eyes. Just gradually lifting your gaze, coming back to this space. Thank you, gang, for joining me. Always great to see some friendly faces. And I look forward to seeing you next week if you choose to drop in. Have a wonderful, peaceful day.